Jay Barnes has a new book out, and he's here to tell us more about it.
Well, this new book is about Hurricane Floyd. It's called Faces from the Flood, and it was a project that I had an opportunity to work with State Treasurer Richard Moore on. Richard Moore was the Secretary of Crime Control and Public Safety during Hurricane Floyd, and so he was intimately involved with the disaster and traveled to the far corners of the flood, so to speak. And he came across so many stories and talked with so many people who had lost their homes and had suffered in that disaster. He called me sometime after the storm and asked me if I would be interested in working with him on this project. So we collaborated, and the result is this book, which has just been released. The project is really mostly an oral history. We went out and interviewed over 50 individuals who were affected by Floyd in one way or another. Some were victims of the storm who had lost everything. Others were rescue workers, including some of the Marines at Cherry Point that were involved in rescue swimming. We had people with FEMA, people with emergency management, people of all different aspects of the disaster, from relief workers to volunteers, people who were involved in raising money, the church organizations, the people that came in and rebuilt homes, as well as just some very compelling stories of people who were surprised by the speed at which the water came into their homes and were very lucky to get out alive. Hurricane Floyd will remain in the record books as the greatest natural disaster in North Carolina's history. There were 52 fatalities in our state, more than any other storm in recent times. There were over 55,000 homes that were flooded. 55,000. That's a lot of people in eastern North Carolina who either lost all their possessions or certainly had their lives disrupted with that kind of water. It was also the most expensive disaster in our state's history, with a total cost of over $6 billion. And there are many parts of eastern North Carolina that today are still trying to put their communities back together, put their lives back together, and here we are almost 5 years after the flood event. There are a lot of heroes with Hurricane Floyd, not only the people who were involved in the rescue, but so many people who stepped up and helped their fellow neighbors, helped people that were total strangers. We had people coming in from out of state, from various relief organizations and churches to help people put their lives back together again. And with this book, we hope to capture some of those stories and not only talk about the death and destruction that came to us with Floyd, but also to talk about some of those uplifting stories of wonderful things that people did and how eastern North Carolina responded to help their neighbors.
The new book is available at area bookstores, so pick up your copy today. Now, don't attempt to adjust the color on your television if it looks a little greener than normal.